Hi, welcome to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the series Absolute Duo. A young boy is partnered up with a beautiful girl to complete their magical powers training session. However, an evil teacher stands in their way and wants to separate them. Can they defeat the teacher? Before we begin, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next episodes. The episode opens up with a young boy, Tooru Kokonoe, reminiscing about his dark past and making his way toward the entrance ceremony of Kouryou Academy. On his way, he's awestruck by a beautiful girl with white hair, Julie Sigtuna, and keeps on staring at her. Right then, another girl, Imari Nagakura, interrupts him and introduces herself as a new student. After this, they shake hands and start walking toward the academy, discussing the perks of being a student there. Moments later, the headmistress, Kouryou Academy, makes an announcement and calls the new students to a big hall. At first, she asks the students to look at the person sitting beside them, and later mentions that the same person will be their opponent in the battle, making everyone shocked. She then explains that they need to learn survival skills from the very beginning and makes it clear that only the winners of the battle will be allowed to enter the academy. Listening to this, Tooru asks Kouryou if they can change their partners, but to his dismay, she kindly refuses. Imari appreciates Tooru's attempt, but states that she can handle herself in the battle. Following this, Kouryou asks the students to use their special soul powers, the blaze, and commence their battle with the first enemy to prove that they are worthy of getting admission into Kouryou Academy. As soon as she says so, Julia pulls out her blaze weapon and prepares to attack her opponent. Seeing this, other freshmen also unlock their blaze weapons and start fighting. Moments later, Imari tells Tooru that she is there to prove something to her people and then takes out her weapon, not before apologizing to him. She then attacks Tooru continuously but misses her first 3 shots. Being a nice guy, Tooru decides to accept the defeat against Imari. But sadly, while he's confessing this, the headmistress throws a special sword toward them, compelling Tooru to unleash his irregular blaze, a shield. Imari is surprised to see this and refuses to accept an easy win. Desperate to win, Imari tries her best to attack Tooru with a powerful blow, but fails as he blocks it with his shield. With the block, he also launches a dangerous but powerful punch at Imari, making her fly to a distance and ending her pursuit of defeating him. All this is being watched from a distance by Julie. After the battle is over, all of the students leave the hall, and Imari can be seen talking to Tooru. She notices that despite the intense battle, the students are unharmed. Tooru then tells her that the blaze is connected to the soul of a person, and that it cannot cause any physical harm. Furthermore, he also accepts that he didn't use the full power of his blaze to protect Imari from getting hurt. Imari appreciates his gesture and departs, not before asking Tooru to take care of himself. In the next scene, Tooru meets his old childhood friend, Aoi Torasaki, and heads toward their classroom to attend their first class. At the same time, Julie walks in and sits right beside Tooru. To Tooru's surprise, she keeps on staring at him and it seems like she's attracted to Tooru. Soon, their homeroom teacher, Rito Tsukimi, enters the classroom and introduces herself as a bubbly character. She informs the students about their identity cards, their usage, and how their credit cards will get refunded every month. Moreover, she also tells the students that they need to do every activity in the academy in pairs, and till their permanent partners are selected, they are teamed with the person sitting beside them. Hearing this, Tooru gets surprised, as the activities include being roommates, and he is still sitting with Julie. Later in the evening, Tooru hesitantly enters his dorm, not before apologizing to Julie for disturbing her. However, when he arrives at the bedroom, he notices Julie standing, only wearing a shirt. She then approaches Tooru and confesses that she likes him. She also tells Tooru that she saw him using his special punch on Imari and requests him to teach her the same. Surprisingly, in the middle of their conversation, Julie falls asleep on the floor and Tooru puts her to bed. As it is already late, he also changes his clothes and goes to sleep on the bunk bed. Following morning, Tooru wakes up beside Julie and gets shocked. He asks her how she ends up sleeping beside him every time, but she quickly walks away without answering. During breakfast time, 2 beautiful girls, Tomoe and Miyabi, approach Tooru and Julie and ask him if they can join them. While they are enjoying their breakfast, Tomoe inquires with Tooru if it was awkward sleeping with the opposite gender. But before Tooru can answer, Julie naively tells Tomoe that she and Tooru ended up sleeping together the previous night. As soon as Tomoe hears this, she yells at Tooru and calls him a pervert in front of everyone. The rumors of Tooru and Julie sleeping together spreads around the academy like wildfire. In the next scene, Tooru and Julie are sitting together inside the classroom, where Miss Rito Rito is teaching them lessons about the rules and basics of the academy. During this time, Tooru explains to Julie how students have misinterpreted her words that she said to Tomoe earlier. Julie instantly realizes her mistake and tells him that she will clear the misunderstanding with Tomoe right after the class. After the class, during the training session, Tomoe approaches Tooru and apologizes for her behavior in the morning in a loud voice. Tooru asks her to calm down, but Tomoe has unknowingly spread more rumors about him and Julie. Right then, Julie arrives there and challenges Tomoe to a practice fight. Here, the duo shows their respective martial moves, impressing everyone in the hall. Moments later, Tooru asks Julie if she learned martial arts with some teacher, but to his surprise, she mentions that she learned everything on her own. Following this, we are shown some scenes where Tooru helps Julie to write new words and helps her practice her fighting lessons when others refuse to pair up with her. The scene then fast forwards a week, and it's the day of selecting the official partner and taking an oath together. Tooru congratulates Julie for successfully spending a week together and departs to the academy to make Aoi his partner. While he and Aoi are ready to take an oath, he notices Miyabi and Tomoe approaching them. Tomoe tells him that she rejected Julie's proposal to form a duo and selected Miyabi as her partner. Hearing this, Tomoe apologizes to Aoi and rushes to search for Julie. After walking around for a bit of time, he hears the sound of a bell that Julie always puts on her hairband and follows it. Soon, he finds her standing on the rooftop alone with teary eyes and asks her what she's doing there. Julie replies to him that she's looking around and is just trying to find a duo partner. Hearing this, Tooru mentions that he wants to turn their temporary partnership into a permanent one and proposes Julie to be his duo. Furthermore, he also tells her that he wants to be by her side and protect her from every trouble possible. As soon as Julie listens to this, she is shocked and hesitates at first to hold Tooru's hand, but Tooru pulls her, and together they take the oath and become a permanent duo partnership. The following day, after the official duos have been selected, Rito Tsukimi briefs her pupils in the classroom about the approaching new blade battle, Novgadius, that is supposed to take place in the following few days. Next, we see Tooru and Julie training together in the woods and honing their combat techniques with their blades in order to win the match. Surprisingly, Julie beats Tooru 4 times in a row. When she asks him about the reason, he mentions that he's not so used to using his newly acquired shield. After analyzing Tooru's problem, Julie suggests a new way of using his shield and also teaches him to take control of his right hand's powerful punch. The scene then shifts to Miyabi, running alone on the racetrack till she collapses to the floor. Luckily, Tooru comes to her rescue and carries her toward her dorm. On the way, Miyabi gains back her consciousness and freaks out after noticing that Tooru is carrying her on his back. Tooru calms her down and asks for the reason for her practicing so hard for the competition. In reply, Miyabi tells him that she considers herself the weakest among all other students and wants to improve her skills. Tooru then motivates her to keep training hard to get better and also reminds her to not overdo it the next time. The next day, new blade battle begins at 5 o'clock in the late afternoon, and Tooru and Julie are ready to compete with other duos. The duos have 2 hours to win the war by surviving and taking out every other duo. The vanquished teams are removed from the fight as it goes on. Tooru's, Tomoe's, and Tora's duos are the last 3 duos remaining. Tooru and Julie fight with Tomoe and Miyabi, and the latter duo give their best shots. Tooru even praises Miyabi for her impressive attack against him, and suggests that she can do much better if she continues practicing. Ultimately, they triumph against Tomoe and Miyabi, and run toward the next location in search of the other surviving pairs. When Tooru and Julie arrive at their location, they see Tora and his companion lying on the ground, hurt. Tooru tries to wake Tora up and help him out, but Tora asks him to stay back and beware of Rito. Out of nowhere, Rito appears there and attacks Tooru, revealing that she is the one who hurt Tora and his companion, Tatsu. She goes on to say that it is her responsibility to remove any pupil who is incapable of performing the work, and pulls out her blaze sword to attack Julie and Tooru. Rito, Julie, and Tooru begin to battle, and Rito succeeds in landing a few attacks on them and hurting the duo. Later, after learning from Rito that an enemy's soul will be hurt if their blaze is broken, with Julie's assistance, Tooru uses his powerful Mjolnir punch to break Rito's blaze sword and finish the battle. The following day, Tooru and Julie can be seen taking their customary morning tea at the table, while they are both still healing from their injuries. Tooru expresses his gratitude towards Julie for helping him in the fight and allowing him enough time to prepare for the punch. Later, Julie tries to help Tooru get over his wounds, but ends up falling over him. Right then, Tomoe and Miyabi come to see them with some refreshments. To their surprise, they see Julie on top of Tooru in her pajamas and start assuming that Tooru is using her. Soon, Julie clears everything and calms them down. In the middle of the night, Tooru awakens from a nightmare that keeps on haunting him. The sounds also rouse Julie, and she asks him about what happened. When Tooru refuses to answer her back, she reveals that, like Tooru, she is an Avenger by displaying the scar on her back. Elsewhere, after hearing that someone like her exists, a beautiful girl, Lilith Bristol, decides to visit Japan in order to meet Tooru Kokonoe, who she learns is equally unique to her. Before leaving, she tells her caretaker Sarah that all of them are the same, yet different, and only one of them can be an exception. The next morning, Tooru wakes up from his dream and again finds Julie sleeping beside him. He accidentally puts his hand on her chest and pulls it back instantly, feeling ashamed. However, Julie loves it and puts his hand back there. Later, both of them climb down the bed, and Tooru apologizes for his behavior. Julie then reveals that she crawled into his bed after she started feeling alone, remembering the past. While they are apologizing to one another, the alarm clock rings and the duo gets ready for school. The scene then shifts to the school, where Miyabi and Tomoe join Tooru and Julie and head toward their classroom. Inside, they meet injured Tora and Tatsu, attending class despite having wounds that are not properly healed. Tomoe criticizes Tora for not taking good care of himself after Rito's attack. Tora is surprised to know that Miyabi and Tomoe are aware of Rito and her brutal attacks on them. Seeing him confused, Tooru tells him that Tomoe and Miyabi arrived at the location and found them unconscious. He also mentions that they are the ones who provided them with first aid. Listening to this, Tora and Tatsu both bow in front of Tomoe and Miyabi and thank them for helping his duo in need. Right then, Rito arrives and asks the students to get ready for her lesson. As soon as Tooru and his group see her, they head towards the headmistress's room and complain about Rito's presence. However, the headmistress does not listen to them and states that she's done a good job by rehiring Rito. In defense, she praises the way Miss Rito teaches and approaches her students. Sakuya also mentions that Rito is one of the important assets to their institution and they can't afford to lose her. Following this, Rito is in her class, teaching the students about their level and skills upgrade. In the middle of the class, the beautiful girl, Lilith, enters the classroom and goes straight to Tooru. Without asking Rito's permission, she approaches Tooru and asks him to meet her outside. At first, Tooru refuses to do so, but when she tells him that she's an exception, he agrees. She leaves the classroom with Tooru following her, not before introducing herself and mentioning that she just transferred college from an England campus. In the next scene, Lilith and Tooru are sitting in the park, sipping a cup of tea. She praises Sarah for making a wonderful tea, and then directly asks Tooru to be her duo partner. Tooru, however, refuses her proposal and mentions that he already has a duo partner, and that the rules of the academy do not allow the students to break their oath. Listening to this, Lilith replies that she is an exception in the academy and is allowed to do whatever she wants. She also reveals that she transferred schools from England just to meet Tooru and be his duo. Despite all this, Tooru still refuses to partner up with her and walks away, not before apologizing to Lilith for turning down her offer. Next, Miss Rito makes Tooru run a 10-kilometer marathon lap multiple times as a punishment for bunking her class during the day. Later in the evening, Tooru forgets his towel while going for a bath, and Julie brings it to him in the bathroom. After the bath, he prepares a delicious cup of tea for them both, and Julie thanks him for taking care of her. Out of nowhere, Julie then asks Tooru if she can sleep together with him tonight. As soon as Tooru hears this, he gets shocked and tries to change the topic. He rather tells Julie that they need to get out of their room to get fresh air. After this, Julie tells Tooru that she wants to buy some clothes for her, and they make a plan to go shopping. However, to Tooru's surprise, Julie hasn't forgotten about sleeping together and calls him to her bed. During their next term break, Tooru and Julie visit a nearby town and enter a mall for shopping. The mall was actually recommended by Miyabi, but when Tooru asked her to join them, she refused and mentioned that she has already made plans with Tomoe. For the purpose of not getting separated in the crowd, Julie holds hands with Tooru, and together they walk around the mall. Every customer in the mall is awestruck by Julie's beauty and keeps on staring at her, even the females. Soon, Julie selects a shop and buys a couple of dresses for herself. After buying the dresses, Tooru makes her sit on a bench and brings some ice cream for her. All this is being watched by Miyabi and Tomoe from a distance. In the next scene, Julie asks Tooru to make her taste his flavor of rum raisin ice cream, but sadly gets intoxicated with just a scoop. Meanwhile, a group of boys notice Tomoe and Miyabi and start hitting on the girls, urging them to join the group. However, Tomoe acts bravely and brushes off the boys, until one of them grabs Miyabi's hand. Tomoe immediately slaps his hand away, and before the boys can respond, Tooru arrives there to protect the girls. He threatens the boys to stay away from the girls and states that they will have a problem if they don't do so. Surprisingly, when one of the boys tries to come near Tooru, someone from behind hits him with a bullet. Shocked, everyone turns back and notices Lilith standing on the railing bars, holding her blaze rifle. Tooru then realizes her exception and cannot believe that someone is allowed to have a rifle blaze. Lilith finishes the group of boys and immediately leaves the place. The episode ends with the girls going shopping for their undergarments and Julie naively opening the curtains of the changing room while Tooru is still standing inside. This embarrasses Miyabi and Tomoe, and they again call Tooru a pervert for staring at them.